Hey, what's up guys? Gons here for the Face Like the Sun YouTube channel. I've been so busy with different projects that I haven't had an opportunity to really do a whole lot of digging on CERN and keeping tabs on what's going on there. There's some other great channels out there that have been, and I'll leave some links to the description section for those channels that have been doing it. Now, one of the things that has been in the news, or I guess people have been talking about recently, is the projection of the goddess Kali on the Empire State Building. I received a note from 0130 that provided a link to pretty much the entire presentation of the projection on the Empire State Building. And here it is. And this footage here starts off with King Kong climbing up the Empire State Building. And then here comes Kali. Kali is a Hindu goddess associated with empowerment, and Kali means black, time, death, lord of death. She is therefore called the goddess of time, change, power, and destruction. So very bizarre that they would be projecting Kali onto the Empire State Building here. And it's bizarre because it shows sort of her face going through different metamorphosis, some sort of shape-shifting going on. Then it goes blank for a while. And again, at around 1 hour 47 minutes, we see some sort of portal opening, maybe, or a connection of some sort of strange pattern emerging here. A lot of psychedelic patterns and things of that nature. And there's an eye opening there at 2:05. Of course, why is an eye blinking at the on the Empire State Building? Who knows? There's nothing to it, guys. Nothing to see here. They're just trying to make some interesting things to look at. All-seeing eye pulls into the sphere Earth. Interesting. And I'll leave a link to this video. You guys can dig through it. I'm sure there's other things here that are bizarre that you can point out on your own. So that's some of the recent stuff going on. But I wanted to talk about something that I've been meaning to talk about for a while, which is the apartment.com commercials. And if you go to the apartment.com YouTube page, we can see that about 5 months ago, they started a campaign, the apartment.com commercials. And then on March 1st, they launched a new campaign, a commercial campaign with a character named Brad Bellflower, a Silicon Valley maverick who's played by Jeff Goldblum. And they present apartments.com as a sort of groundbreaking website that allows you to search for every single, I guess, apartment out there. But they kind of push it as something more than just that. And if you watch this, one of the memes of the ads is Jeff Goldblum, or this character, holding a portal. And you can see a flash of it there. He's holding a portal. I've seen this on billboards, and it's all over the place. And if you dig through these commercials, they're very strange. I mean, I guess they're trying to be creative or something. Change your apartments, change the world. You got the Polygon. Now, this one in particular was a very bizarre commercial. This commercial talks about why the apartments.com system is better than any other system out there for searching for apartments. And his solution or conclusion is because he hires the best and brightest. And then he asks this little girl, "What's your secret?" And what do they show? Glowing green eyes. I mean, I don't even know if people got that or understood it or what, but that's very bizarre. And then this commercial uses an old man in the future, 200 years into the future. He talks about how he won free apartments for the rest of his life. And he goes, little did they know that medical advances in science allows us to live much longer. And so, you know, there he is. He's lived for 200 years or whatever, and he's had a free apartment ever since. And so there you have it. There's some weird stuff going on there with apartment.com. And I think the most bizarre commercial that they have is the one here where basically this Brad Bellflower character is presenting, you know, this thing inside a little stadium thing. And you have this logo with a key and a reef. And he's talking about how finding the right apartment could lead you to your realized life and all this stuff. So I know there's a little bit of a humor in this, and they're trying to make it kind of a funny thing at the same time, futuristic and whatnot. But at the same time, I mean, it's just bizarre. Why would they have this campaign if it wasn't for some sort of conditioning happening? So lastly, I want to talk about something a little bit older, a film that came out in 2011, and it was called Phineas and Ferb, the movie Across the Second Dimension, and it was on the Disney Channel. And I'm just going to go through it really quickly because, you know, I don't have to break down the whole movie, but it is a very interesting film because it has portals and dimensions and whatnot. And the film premiere saw 7.6 million viewers. It's one of the highest rated animated programs on cable in more than 3 years at the time, and has become the second best animated basic cable telecast ever for kids 6 to 11 and tweens 9 through 14, and the cable television's 5th best movie ever in total viewers. So huge movie, okay? Now in this movie, real briefly here, the film basically shows Dr. Doofenshmirtz, I don't know how to say his name, Dr. Doofenshmirtz, whatever. He's the bad guy in the show, but he is a unsuccessful mad scientist that has no friends. He's kind of he can never get any of his devices to work, and that's part of, the ongoing plot of Phineas and Ferb, the show. And basically in this episode, Phineas and Ferb make this platypus launcher thing, and part of the storyline also is that Perry the Platypus is the pet platypus of Phineas and Ferb, but he's also a secret agent that has been responsible for stopping Doofenshmirtz's projects. Like, that's like a thing that happens in every show. But anyway, so Dr. Doofenshmirtz creates this thing called the Other Dimensionator, which is another thing that's typical. He always uses a nator to the end of anything that he makes. And so he has a line here, "Now Perry the Platypus, quake in terror as I punch a hole into another dimension. Behold, the Other Dimensionator." And then the Phineas and Ferb are, in the meantime, making this badminton platypult, and they launch themselves, and actually they run into Perry the Platypus's rocket ship as he is summoned to stop the Other Dimensionator, which leads Phineas and Ferb's little ship thing to smash into the Other Dimensionator. And Phineas and Ferb offer to help fix the Other Dimensionator to open the portal to the other dimension. And they're successful, and they rip a little hole into time-space. And when they jump into that parallel dimension, they discover that it is a world that is run by an evil Dr. Doofenshmirtz. And he's famous, and he's in charge, and the world is dark and all this stuff. And interestingly, he has one eye, and in the movie it shows that he has his other eyeball in a little pouch, which is kind of creepy. But anyway, in this parallel world, the nemesis of Dr. Doofenshmirtz, which is Perry the Platypus, is a cyborg, which leads the evil army. And Dr. Doofenshmirtz has this robot army called the Normbots. And anyway, so as the film progresses, they're kind of going through trying to figure out how to get back and whatnot. And in the process, they find out that they have to go through all these other dimensions in a clockwise fashion to get back to their own dimension. And one of the songs that plays during that whole sequence of going through all these different dimensions is called Brand New Reality. Some of the lyrics here: "You've got no time to waste on sentimentality. Get out and find yourself a brand new reality. Get out and find yourself a brand new reality. A particle duality, a new dimensionality. Yeah, I guess I'll see you around." So there you have it. Some interesting lyrics there. And of course, they're trying to, stay with the theme here of dimensions and whatnot. So as the story goes on, they find their way back into this reality, or, their original dimension. But the evil Doofenshmirtz decides to open a portal from his dimension, and he sends a swarm of Normbots. And the imagery here is very interesting. I mean, talk about opening a bottomless pit and, having these weird swarms of locusts come out in the Bible. It just reminded me of that imagery, and it terrorizes the people and whatnot. And of course, in the end, it's Phineas and Ferb and Perry the Platypus and his friends, and the main characters and their friends basically saving the world by using robots and whatnot. So just thought it was bizarre that in 2011, this was a film that was out there. And ever since then, again, and I've touched on this in other videos, you can watch them if you go to the playlist of CERN watch videos that I've put together. Portal propaganda has been huge. A lot of shows, almost every show, talks about portals and other dimensions. And just to add to the list, Rick and Morty is another show on Cartoon Network. The plot is this elderly alcoholic scientist that moves in with his daughter's family, and he spends most of his time taking his young grandson Morty and later other family members on dangerous, outlandish adventures throughout the cosmos and alternate universes. And there's a lot of portal imagery there. So again, every single cartoon for kids, it doesn't matter if it's Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network or Disney XD or whatever, they're all talking about portals and other dimensions. And the more we see of this, the more things get stranger in terms of what CERN is doing. And combine that with some of the research other folks have been doing about CERN and keeping a focus on what's going on there. and things are getting very interesting, especially as we go into September and October. We'll see if anything happens. Prepare for it. I don't know that anything will exactly happen. I know the 27 Things video, I talk about CERN, and a couple of you sent me the PDF with the schedule, and that was nice of you. Thank you. I don't know if they're on schedule with that yet. I know some things are not on schedule because stuff breaks and whatnot, but I think we just have to continue to keep an eye on CERN and see what is going on there. So I just thought I'd bring some of these things to your attention, and hopefully it'll add to the list of things that have already been documented on my CERN Watch playlist, and hopefully it will help you understand what is going on, especially with all the propaganda surrounding it. It's pretty obvious and in your face. So hope you guys have an awesome day. God bless.